Welcome to Art Cake. This is Urvaja.
And this is Yamini. We love to talk about art.
So do join us as we share our insights of this world with you.
Hey, good morning, Urvaja.
Hi.
Today, I want to bring up this topic of NFTs because it's been in the news lately and we've been talking about it quite a lot about it. And I think specifically what I'm referring to is when Wikipedia didn't list NFT as a medium of art, when they listed the top selling artworks of 2021. And that sparked off a whole debate in the crypto world or in the new medium that's shaking up the art world. I remember you had something very interesting to add to that. Would you want to take it forward?
Well, we've been talking about NFTs for a while now because, they garnered so much attention this last year, especially starting with, that huge sale from Beeple.
That's right.
Every day is the first 5,000 days, which had an astonishing 69 plus million sale at the Christie's auction in March. And suddenly everybody sat up and took note of, oh, NFTs is real, because prior to that, it was a very fringe space. It still continues to be dominated by, the techies and, people who are deep into the digital transactional world. And largely because, Ethereum and any of the other blockchain currencies have made it possible to record a transaction of ownership for a non-fungible token, as these art or not so arty pieces are termed. So how do we, separate that discussion between, is it a real art form that's, getting or seeing a light of day, or is it just a way to pump up a valuation of a blockchain currencies and, finding it other sources of, investments in it? Because there's so much discussion about the investments of NFTs and the valuation. When we come to art, we become a little confused as well. Is it art? Because is it not art? I know I was just reading an article which we had discussed as well, that Christie's and Sotheby's released their auction numbers for 2021, and both had phenomenal year, 7 billion plus, which is almost $1 billion over their, their sales in the years prior to pandemic. And a large percentage of that was through NFT auctions. And within that, they said that 70% of the buyers who were coming in and buying these were new buyers for them. They were not your buyers in the traditional art space. But of course, now everybody who has any resources in the art world is on this bandwagon. So I don't know if, it leads back to the question that you had posed, is that I don't know if, I know Wikipedia has said that, NFTs, as of this point, they're not listing the artworks as top artwork sales for 2021. But as far as the art community is concerned, it has firmly adopted the sale of NFTs as something that they're going to go ahead and do.
True. No, so, I think one of the points that you touched upon, and I think which we should highlight for our listeners, is that the whole idea of listing it on a blockchain, which leads into the thing of the provenance of a work, the transparency of the transaction, and the authenticity of the work being guaranteed. I think that kind of caught everybody's fancy. I think more than what the art form is, because it's not. And this is something that has been discussed on and off, especially within the Indian art market, saying that, hey, here's a great way to kind of talk about provenance and bring transparency. So that's one aspect of NFT, I think, that is being kind of considered very seriously, and people are, looking at ways of implementing it in the real world transaction. But the other thing, I think, what also you said is, how do you, or why did they choose to not call it, an art form? What was the decision? I'm just going to jump in here and add a few things. We should look at it as a medium, At the end of the day, what is an art form? It's an idea that gets expressed within the multiple mediums that are available. Now, some of these mediums are, accepted and recognized as known mediums of a work of art. For instance, paintings on canvas or paper, board, sculpture using wood, metal, stone, or the new form when you had an installation, everybody started questioning at that point, saying that, hey, is this art if it is not in your known medium? So I think at
Yes.
every point of inflection that comes in, there's this
Hmm.
question: is it art? Is it not art?
Hmm.
And again, I kind of tied in to two of our conversations that we had, which was installation art, and the
Yeah.
second one that we spoke about was printmaking,
Hmm.
which is just to give a simple example, if you look at screen printing, which is also known as serigraph, was initially a medium that was used within the space of advertising, in the space of printing letterheads and visiting cards. But artists did pick up on that material, the medium, and convert it into a work of art. For example, I mean, the most common and the most popular name that comes up is Andy Warhol. A
Yeah.
large chunk of his works are screen prints. Now, you don't look at them today saying that, oh, but it's a screen print, so should it be a work of art? It was used
Yes.
for
Again,
advertising,
it's
or
just implementation of a new technology to,
exactly.
create something that other people desire as as something to hold on to.
And the artist seeing a potential in it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the agency of the artist, or the intervention of the artist, and how the artist turns that medium by their thought process, by the visual, what they want to communicate through that, which makes it stand apart from what you have from a 12-year-old making an NFT,
Mhm.
or a tweet being made into an
Yes.
NFT, to a work that
Now,
is
pieces of
in a decent.
music and clippets of movie scenes,
Absolutely.
like we read that news about Quentin Tarantino, and there was a case by the movie production company.
Absolutely. And again, in that also, who owns the right? I mean, that's a
I guess,
separate
I guess,
conversation.
yeah. Sorry, because we genuinely, both of us feel that any new medium needs that look in, and anything that's an expression of, any artistic endeavor has the space to be absorbed in the art world. I think what makes the
Yeah.
discussion on NFTs a little more precarious is because the discussion has only taken off because of the valuations and the money that's getting poured into the medium, as
True.
compared to
True.
any of the additional forms that traditional forms that grew up and then became an art form, so to speak, as compared to here,
Mm-hmm.
where there's like, this is now where the money's flowing in. So everybody's there to also make a quick buck. So it's not about the art community or the community at large deeming something an artwork or not. It's about the people who are trading in this are largely viewing it as something that's a transaction. Incidentally, I was reading this article about an ex-Christie's management person who started this platform now called Particle, and the entire
Mm-hmm.
notion is to be able to convert artwork into NFTs and sell it as a
Mm-hmm.
for fractional ownership. So, for example, I think recently
Mm-hmm.
converted one of the artworks of Banksy and sold it for
Mm-hmm.
$1,500 one per stake.
Okay.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's almost like going into a stock market space where you're driving
Mm-hmm.
valuation of an entity, here an artwork, through fractional ownership, and it just kind of takes off from there. There was another article where this artist known as Park, PAK, sold
Yes.
some, I think, 93,000 pieces of an artwork called Merge. And, or
Mm-hmm.
no, the entire valuation he got was about 93 million. It was, I think, many more pieces than that, probably 250,000 odd. And at some point, if you own more and more, you can put more pieces together. But it's like a game of,
Mm-hmm.
cryptocurrencies versus digital art versus ownership models. So that's what I think makes it a little more confusing to sort of, deem it as a wholesome art piece.
And I think which is fine, because as our world that we live in, there's so many new things that are coming, and the whole concept of a cryptocurrency, the
Mm.
premise of that is also decentralization. So if
Yes.
that is the premise, I think it's but obvious that the art forms, or the forms of its uh, you know dispersal are also decentralized and question and shake up what is art and what is not art. Which
Absolutely. Yeah. And because it's a
so
digital space, it doesn't, there's no physical quantity to hold. So it
Mhm.
lends itself to decentralization. So there's no reason why people can't hold 1,000 pieces of the same work because the space makes it
Absolutely.
possible.
Absolutely. And I think also there's one hint over here that comes in is, what Damien Hirst did, where
Mm,
he made 10,000 artworks and opened it up for people to buy. Of course, like a stock, when it opens up,
mm,
you had to fill in a form and, you
mm,
could be accepted. And he chose the people who could kind of acquire the work. Then they could either get the NFT version, which was for a fraction of the price, or the actual
mm.
artwork. After you had made the decision, depending on what you chose, the other piece would be destroyed. So
Oh,
if you
very
chose an
interesting.
NFT, the physical
Mm,
work was destroyed. If you opted for the physical work, then you paid up the differential amount, and
mm,
the NFT was never released or would be destroyed. This was almost like a whole presentation that went on for a period of 3 to 4 months, where it was announced and it was opened up and people uh, they were given a time frame to decide what they wanted. An exhibition was mounted and it was done beautifully. But again, it straddled the desire to have the physical work or to
mm,
have that NFT. It
mm,
gave you an option, and that was a
mm.
model that went the physical and the offline for the same artwork. I think that was an interesting thing to do. There are ways that people will work it out, and you need to find out which is, you cannot discard it and say it's not a medium of art or it's not a work of art. Of course, it is a work of art when an artist says it's a work of art, and there's somebody else who believes that it's a work of art, and then there is
And
a
is willing
transaction
to
that
buy
happens
it.
on the work.
Exactly. Exactly. I think what you said, that it's a space that's going to grow, is very true. You look at the money that's going into starting up NFT platforms. I know in India, Wazirex recently launched one a few months ago. Think that's doing reasonably well, but obviously nowhere achieving any strong valuations as of now. Of course, internationally, the OpenSea is a platform, Marketplace is a platform,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all doing
Mm-hmm.
really, really strong business. And I think more and more investors and funds are now getting into it. Incidentally, I was also reading about something called DAO, which is the decentralized or autonomous organization
Mm-hmm.
that
Correct.
sort of creates a space under certain defined rules, but they're not a government space. So they're kind of controlling a currency transaction within the defined rules. And where will a
Mm.
lot of that money go? Is a lot of it is through NFTs, be it art or any other sort of artistic media, sound bites or film clips,
True.
etc. So it's making that whole world very, very dynamic, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that gives some pause for reflection. But it's like, if you're riding the wave, why would you not?
True. I was just going to say, I think the question then is moot: is it art or is it not art? And if Wikipedia says it's not like it's written in stone. Anybody can revisit
Yes.
that with decision, and then things can change. So I don't think we should take it too seriously and wonder, oh my God, what's going to happen?
No, but it does give you more topics for discussion, because I think our topic started because when we both read that article, and it, gives you pause to reconsider what is happening. So that was, that's obviously interesting. But while we're doing that, I think it's also important to highlight, some of the pitfalls of the NFT space, environmentally not friendly being one of the foremost.
Mm-hmm. True,
And I
true,
think nobody's figured out how to be able to work around that, especially in this woke generation. So we'll see how that
true.
space opens up. Also, I think last month or something, there was some complaint that the somebody whose wallet was hacked into, and entire
Correct.
collection of the bored apes that he had bought had
Mm,
been sold off separately, and OpenSea, which is again an important marketplace for these NFTs, had to stop transaction for a while. So, that's also part of the digital story, I guess.
yes. So it's not all foolproof.
No, it's not all. But, we talk about fakes in the art world as well. So what do you do?
Absolutely. It's a great opinion that was voiced by Wikipedia. It was a decision that we made. By the way, there were 7 people who voted, 6 who said not art, and only 1 person who said art. So it's not really like a whole body of people or a large opinion that matters. It's just 6 people who are saying it, but it just got listed out, and the reactions that came in was what kind of set everybody agog, saying that, oh my God, now what?
Yes. But I think it's a space we'll continue to watch closely simply because it's exciting and it's interesting. And obviously, so many new players are involved, and that's always a good thing.
Absolutely. So thank you, Urvaja. I think that was a great conversation, and I'm sure our listeners got a little bit more insight on what the world of NFT is and where its current status is. So thank you very much. Till the
Thank
next
you.
time.
I really enjoyed the
Bye.
discussion as well. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
You were listening to Art Cake, where we share personal views on subjects in the art world.
For more such content, please visit our website www.artkick.com. That's ARTKYK. Keep listening.